All right, guys, it's Shalom with the Paradox Gaming Network, and today we're going to do a little Ashes of Creation discussion. We're going to talk about some sound bites and how these sound bites provide a little bit of clarification. Now, I consider myself an educator, and as a good educator, if you've ever taught something wrong or you've taught something that's turned out to be confusing, you always double back in your lesson, you reteach it, you make sure everybody gets it. Now, I'm not doing this video today because I think I taught something wrong or I presented something incorrectly. What we've gotten is a little bit more clarification, and we kind of get a different perspective and a point of view from what Steven was talking about a couple of months ago and what he's talking about now. However, because I'm not in Steven's head and we are waiting for that director's letter from him, at the end of today's show, hopefully everything will be about as clear as mud. Now, I want to let you guys know, I never back down from a position I made. I don't, apologize. I'm not an apologist. If I say something, I'll tell you why I said it. If you can enlighten me about why what I said was wrong, you can change my opinion. You can change my perspective, but I'm not going to apologize for it. So this comes out of yesterday's discussion on the Discord, and I plainly said, the sad part is the window of opportunity for any level of success for APOC Battle Royale is gone. And another user said, did it have a window regardless? I mean, that's, it's a fair question. But I said, yeah, it did. December for APOC, it would have been good. It was fun for the week we had it. I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it on the weekends we've had it. But now with Realm Royale and Apex Legends, nobody will want to come back to a failed BR. Now I want to make sure that I clarify something. I say a failed BR because in just a minute we're going to talk about money, and I'm looking at it from a monetary perspective because that's what my interpretations led me to believe. I want to make sure though that we compare apples to apples. APOC Battle Royale was released as testing. We knew it was open beta testing. And 87,000 logins isn't too bad. But when you compare it to Apex Legends that just hit launch at 25 million total players, you're definitely seeing where if Apocalypse was to try to come out on the scene now as a monetary method of Intrepid Studios making money, it's failed. Now, what do I mean by failed? Is that just my opinion, or can I qualify that? Can I quantify my position? Yeah, I can clarify that. Number one, they missed the 18 December date. Now, you guys know me. You can watch all my other footage on YouTube. If you miss a date, I'm going to hold you to it because you set a deadline, you missed it. They missed the 18 December date. It came out 19 December in the early hour mornings. Not a huge miss, but it's still a miss. The December testing was only up for 7 days before it had to be taken down. We were promised each weekend testing starting January 11th. And to date, we've only had 2 of those 6 weekends, and we've had 1 spot test. Now, are there a lot of reasons behind the scene to justify why those things are the way they are? Absolutely. And if you watch my other recent video on Ashes of Creation up at the top, you're going to say, in fairness, I did give them a C+B- on their new Battle Royale build. I can't wipe away all the previous mistakes. And remember that. You can't wipe away your previous mistakes. That's going to be, repeated a little bit later in the show. Now, where does all this come from? Where does the rub, where does the friction come from? If you guys remember on 6 December 2018, the community exploded a little. That's when we got the announcement of the Battle Royale monetization platform, how they were going to monetize it. Now, I will give Steven credit. He never backs away from the hard questions. I am a very difficult content creator to work with because my experience allows me to ask hard questions. And I have this entire interview up at my website, and there's a link in the description below, you can get there. But Steven doesn't back away on the on-the-spot question about monetization and why are we suddenly seeing it monetized, the project's fully funded, and he answered them, he got there. I'm not going to read all this to you. I'm going to pull out just a bit of what this was. I'm going to pull out some key terms, which is where I think the confusion came from. We're talking about a standalone game mode, which is a viable product. And what that means is it will have a monetization strategy. Now, at first presentation, I see the word viable product, monetization strategy, and I think what every person in business is going to think. Viability. The viability of a business is measured by its long-term survival and its ability to sustain profits over a period of time. This comes from the Balanced Small Business. Viability measures your business's ability to start, grow, and survive. And how do businesses survive? By making money. This comes from Small Business BC. Steven even hinted at that in December when he said we had 87,000 logins. That type of server capacity costs money. We're talking about money. So I'm thinking what a lot of you are thinking. Intrepid released a monetized Battle Royale mode in order to make money. Maybe that was true. Maybe it's not. Maybe if you believe Steven and what he has to say, you're going to believe what he talks about next. Maybe you've written him off and you're not going to listen to a single word he has to say. That's why I'm doing the video. Maybe you've written Steven off, but you're still willing to listen to me. So let's break this down a little bit further from what came out last night. 6 December, we talk about standalone game mode that wasn't test-orientated, that's a viable product on its own. Last night, Steven says, right. I said, right. But APOC got spun off as its own product, right? Again, Jalon is thinking its own product, it has to make money. Steven said, in an attempt to limit confusion about it as a testing ground, yes. Now, I walked away from my computer last night. You guys know I tell all content creators this. If you ever get to the point where you're going to like snap back and fire back, might want to walk away for a minute. Because I said, well, what do you mean limit confusion about it as a testing ground? It's not a testing ground. It's a standalone product. And then I thought to myself, wait a minute. He's saying to limit confusion that it is a testing ground. And it is there designed to provide data for the MMORPG. It's monetized as to not take money away from that 30 million pool, the Kickstarter fund, the Summer Backer Fund, the web sales funds. And in the interview we talked about that I did with Steven, he talks about that they limited Alpha 1 sales. So that's all in that interview. So everything he said right there lines up. So let's go back to my point of the sad part is the window of opportunity for any level of success of APOC Battle Royale is gone. Financial success. I'm talking financial success. And Steven comes back with, APOC's qualification for success is simply to provide a tool by which we could identify necessary adjustments or changes in preparation for the alpha of the MMORPG. Okay? Anything beyond was extra. Okay, we get a little dicey there. I wouldn't have said that. You were like 97% solid on the first one. The and then right there kind of hurt you, but I'm gonna go with it. But then I have to ask the question, so what about being a viable standalone product? Viability. Capable of success or continuing effectiveness. Effectives. Practicable. It only had to do 3 things. Testing the systems we wanted to test, spending as little time as possible creating something to achieve the previous point, and getting it done in a timeline that allowed us to fix change what needed to be changed before the alpha beta of the MMORPG. Damn, Steven, if only you had told us what you meant by viable back in December, and you weren't talking about economic viability, you were talking about testing viability. This is why, you guys, if you've listened to my show, you know that I say a phrase all the time. Words matter. When you talk about money in a sentence and you say viable standalone product, it's easy to see where we thought you meant a economically viable standalone product. Don't misunderstand the statement about Battle Royale being easy to make, fun format. It wasn't chosen as a monetization model, but rather the easiest mode that is fun for testers and achieves what we wanted to achieve for the development of the MMORPG and the timeline we wanted to achieve it in. There was no ulterior motive. That's the type of commentary that is sad to see from us developers who are working day and night for one motive, the greatest MMORPG possible. Steven, that right there is a mint of sincerity. And I wish that was what you had sat down with us in December. You need to go back to the fireside chats. You need to, get into the ring with somebody who's going to do a Barbara Walters interview that's going to hit the hard, that ask you the hard questions and give you the opportunity to articulate answers like that. Now, again, if you believe Steven, you're already sold. If you don't believe Steven, you've already written him off. I'm appealing to the people who have written him off, and I'm appealing to the middle ground. Steven and I have had personal conversations. I don't doubt his sincerity. So, okay, I needed this in December. He releases this really big, long statement, okay? He spent a long time writing it. I'm going to break it apart in 2 parts because it's going to be like Donald Trump in the State of the Union address, and the political pundits, they break it down for fact-checking the truthfulness. So to recap the reasoning, and you guys can read this, but basically this lines up with the same interview that I did with him in December. I'm going to call this true. I've been around for all those discussions. I don't disagree with using the Battle Royale mode. I was there when Unreal Engine 4 was talked about. It's not going to, the engine itself isn't going to be able to do the things you want. Even though Project TL, is using Unreal Engine 4 as a base as well. We've talked about engines. If you want to know more, we can talk more offline. I don't disagree with using a Battle Royale mode. I can't come up with a better system to do all the things they wanted to this early. Now, I know people are going to say, well, just give us the Castle Siege mode and forget the Battle Royale. I've showed you guys the perspectives video with the hitbox thing. You're not going to get that kind of correction, that kind of data, that kind of single instance data point out of the Castle Siege mode. It's going to be pure chaos. Castle Siege mode is meant to test a whole bunch of other things. So basically, I'm still waiting for somebody to provide a good explanation of what would have done everything Intrepid wanted. The first one I'm going to discount right away is people said, I'll just do arenas and just do murder domes. Guess what, guys? They wanted to test matchmaking and the ability to move people from a game lobby to a holding lobby to the game map. So you're going to do a murder dome with a 1 and out or a battle royale with a 1 and out. Guess what? For them to test what they wanted, the first go around was going to be a 1 and out. Plus, in fairness, this mode, the Battle Royale mode, did discover the server architecture error, so it worked. Just remember, Murphy's Laws of Combat. If it's stupid and it works, it's not stupid. I'm going to break apart the second part a little bit more. When the MMORPG begins, its alphas and betas, people will tend to judge based on the merit of the content they are watching at that moment and not the content that is dated previously in development cycle. I'm going to say mostly true. MMO fans will judge your MMORPG on the MMORPG. Ashes fans are going to remember the history and the stumbles, the fumbles, and the bumbles. And John Q Public, you're really going to have to do a good job of better marketing and better public relations, better community management, better macro managing and micro informing. Because if you don't, people are going to just know about the bad stuff. I'm not going to talk about the litany of bad press out there right now. You guys can go and find that. Will it get wiped away when the MMORPG comes out? I think that's really what Steven's asking. Will all of this bad stuff get wiped away? At this point, yes. There is nothing so egregious at this point that's unforgivable. My.com is a big one. Exola is a big one. The assembly line of concept art cosmetics, not getting the forums up, not getting the web page fixed, not meeting each and every testing window. All of those things are piling up on the negative reputation side. But I honestly think that if you come out with a solid Alpha 1 of the MMORPG, you can wipe away all of that as long as you don't have any more snafus. Second part of this, during testing of Alpha 1 Phase 1, it became quite confusing. Yeah, this is absolutely true. Calling APOC the Alpha 1 of the MMORPG was incorrect. I've said this lots of times. I will say it again. It's probably one of Intrepid's most defining moments. They literally came out with, hey guys, we called something an Alpha 1 that's not really an Alpha 1. APOC should have been called tech testing. It should have been called technology. It should have been called systems testing, isolated testing. It should have never been given the Alpha 1 designator because it is not the MMORPG. If you say you're using Agile, then you have to make sure that you adhere to Agile. If you're still testing parts, then you're not alpha testing the MMORPG. So does that mean you missed your Alpha 1 of the MMORPG because you didn't deliver any MMORPG in December? Yes, it does. Is that forgivable? Absolutely. And if people want to argue that point, I'll argue it with you. We in 2017 argued a bunch of facts, a bunch of points about the engine and the combat. So if they shift the development, the timeline, in order to accommodate the community, then you can't simultaneously hold them to bear, put their feet to the fire about not delivering the MMORPG in December of 2018 if we wanted to see the combat first. The community asked for that. They compromised with the community. So on that one, they were incorrect for shoehorning the wrong title on, but they were absolutely correct for the way they did their development. And that is it for today, guys. I wanted to get this video out. I wanted to do it this morning. I didn't want to do it last night. I wanted to have a chance to sit down, quote, pull, think about some stuff, think about how I got to my position, talking about economic viability, but where Steven's obviously coming from. It's a viable product because it's accomplishing the things they want. I know there's a little bit of gray area where people want to talk about the over monetization, how Intrepid's starting to look more like these AAA publishers, and that's fine. We can have that discussion. I'd love to have that discussion in the comments below. I want to let you guys know ashes101.com is up and running. It links over to my original website for the time being, but I do have the domain. It is up, it's running, all that stuff is getting flushed out. I do want to let you guys know that you can get me on Discord. I'm Jalon #0001, or join my Twitch. Even if I'm playing a different game, you can always come in with Ashes of Creation questions. And as always, huge thanks to all of my sponsors. There is a gift card giveaway in the description below. You guys can sign up for that, and I'm giving away a bunch of gift cards. Once the referral system at Ashes gets all worked out, I'll know how much money I have in the pot again. And then once I know that, I can maybe line up. Maybe I'll dip into one pot of money, do a beta code giveaway for Ashes, and then I'll just pay the pot back when I get that money. All right, you guys take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Happy post-Valentine's Day, and I will see you guys when we get some more news to talk about in Ashes of Creation. Take care. Hey, where are you going? You're not done yet. See these videos? There's videos up here to watch. You got to go over here. Hit the chibi. Subscribe to the channel. Check out the webpage. And I'll see you guys on Twitch.